My name is Matt Rule, and in this presentation, I'm going to be giving you a brief introductory into who I am, a little bit about me, as well as discussing the different questions associated with the required readings. So, if we jump right into it, a little bit of information about me. Um, I currently teach at Hempfield High School. This is my second year at Hempfield, my sixth year teaching. I was previously at East Pennsboro for 4 years. That's where I began my teaching career. And Hempfield is actually my alma mater, so I got to return home when I got hired at Hempfield last year. And so, as I said, this is my second year at Hempfield, and just getting geared back up after a nice long summer break. So I'm just starting to get back into the swing of things. A little bit more about me is I enjoy doing things outside. I enjoy being active. A fun fact about me is that after I completed my undergraduate at Millersville University, my best friend and I went and actually hiked the entire Appalachian Trail. We hiked from Maine the whole way down to Georgia, and it took us about 4.5 months to do the entire thing. So obviously, I enjoy being outside and being active. Another thing that I enjoy doing is working with my hands. With me at Hempfield, I am a tech ed teacher, so I teach hands-on type courses at the high school, and that plays nicely into the fact that my wife and I just this past December bought our first home, and we got to ourselves pretty much renovate the whole first floor. And so that was definitely keeping us busy. It was like a second job for sure, but we had a lot of fun in the process. I am currently enrolled in the ACTE Master's program. I do have a STEM concentration in that program, and this is my final capstone course. So I do hope to finish the program this December, which I am definitely excited about. Getting into the text. In terms of which of the four steps I believe for myself to be the hardest, the four being identifying an area of focus, collecting data, analyzing and interpreting the data, and developing an action plan. For me, I think that identifying an area of focus is going to be one of the most challenging aspects, especially after going through the readings and them identifying the fact that you do need to be very specific in this category, and just developing a specified plan of what you want to be focusing on. A lot of the text discussed how it was often the case that people would start too broad and they would need to continue whittling down their area of focus to one specific question is typically best. So I think identifying what that question is and being relatively narrow in their focus, I think is going to be a challenge for me, and just identifying what that starting point looks like and where to begin, I think is going to be the most challenging aspect for me. Moving forward, in terms of daily implementation challenges, I feel the answer to this is time, time, and time. I know as a teacher, and I know many other teachers can agree that I feel like there never seems to be enough hours in the day, and I am always feel like I'm running short on time to actually accomplish what I need to for my classes. I feel the second is accessibility to resources and just knowing what's out there. With me not really ever having much experience conducting the active research, I feel like that can be somewhat daunting as well. Mills in his text does argue that teachers are already going through this process on a daily basis through planning, implementation, and evaluation, just on daily lesson planning. So obviously this would be on a much larger scale, but I do feel one of the daunting things that's in the back of my mind is outside of a graduate course like this, how often would I choose to participate in active research? I understand that it is obviously geared towards benefiting myself and my students, but in the back of my mind, it always comes back to will there be enough time for me to be able to do this? I feel like that's one of the most challenging things that I could potentially identify. In the bottom quote there, it says, if the process of action research cannot be done without adversely affecting the fundamental work of teaching, then it ought not to be done at all. So I guess the implication there of what is implied by that statement is that you should be able to do it as part of your daily teaching routine, and I guess that's what Mill is trying to stress in his text. And obviously, as I work through the text a little bit more, I'll be able to flesh some of these ideas out, but those are some of my initial concerns that I see in terms of daily implementation. And then lastly, of the two field studies, I would say Julie Nora's story stuck out to me more so just because we can constantly see in education testing is taking over more and more of the trajectory of education. With her story, it did allow her to focus on the students and the validity of the way students are being tested. So I thought that that was a creative method of study for her. And it also showed her what her students needed to achieve yet to attain their goals. Some concerns that I do have is in both stories, they did state how it's very helpful, if not essential, to involve educational researchers in addition to themselves being teachers as part of this process. I do feel that that's somewhat daunting and don't know necessarily what that would look like for me. So just determining what involvement that is going to entail, what that looks like in the future, and being able to use the data that is collected and then determining what you do with it and who needs to be involved in that process can be somewhat daunting as well. So I would say those are my main concerns moving forward. I do look forward to getting into the text a little bit more and understanding these concepts. So thank you for watching my presentation, and I look forward to meeting you and working through this course together. Goodbye.